Well, it's a rough time for new car sales, especially in Melbourne, with big brands rushing to divert their Victorian shipments to other states.
Total new car sales in August were down nationally by almost 30%. The lowest sales were recorded in Victoria, which were down a whopping 66%.
So how are car companies dealing with these conditions? I spoke with Geraldine Davies, who is the marketing director at Nissan, to discuss its strategy.
I think it's fair to say that we have certainly been through incredibly patchy period right through from, I suppose, the start of this pandemic to now. But even though I think our total TIV, so that's your total industry vehicle sales, have in fact decreased this year, we're expecting them to be well under 1 million. The result for us has been certainly for that sort of March-April period, we absolutely did see quite a decline, and that's been sort of well and truly sort of stated publicly. But certainly the last sort of 3 months or so, we're seeing some really nice improvements, particularly outside, of course, Victoria, which is still in stage 4 restrictions. So that predominantly makes up, not only from a GDP perspective in Australia, but certainly even most car manufacturers' volumes of about 25-26%. So still impacting, but certainly some early positive signs.
Nissan is such a massive global car manufacturer. It sells many models all around the world, and presumably not all of them here. What would you describe as your target market here in Australia for Nissan?
Yeah, look, we absolutely do have a very broad market here in Australia, and as you would appreciate, it's very model dependent. So we focus on very different markets based on whether we're talking Navara, which of course is our LCV market, which by the way has held up exceptionally well through COVID. Also, we've got Patrol, which is again a market that is, we tend to sort of talk about, grey nomads right through to, tradies that are sort of even using this particular vehicle. And quite frankly, sales again have absolutely exceeded expectations, right through to, our family vehicles in the SUV space. So we are also having more recent time launched Duke, which is a new generation of a small SUV. That was bang on COVID time. So that had to be done fully virtually, and that is really sort of appealing to a much younger market. So like a lot of OEMs, we're fairly broad in terms of who we appeal to, and it's very much model dependent.
Just on your models, I understand one of your models for sale here is electric powered. How are sales of that car going?
I think we continue to support that very heavily in the market. One of the things is that, I think overall as a company, not just in Australia, but I think globally, we absolutely are committed to electrification overall. I think still in Australia, we still have to ensure that we're really, I think, satisfying some of the core questions that people still have around things like range anxiety for electric vehicles. I think that some of the opportunities that we have in terms of incentives from government, etc., have also continued to evolve, but we still need to go a lot faster there. But I think, we've recently, and again through COVID, actually launched ARIA. So, again, we see that as a, continued push, certainly in the electric vehicle space, and we know the future is electrified. So I think Australians will continue to evolve. We have to continue to be the pioneers. We need to make sure we're out in front, and we're really showing the range that that we've not only got in the market now, but also well and truly into the future.
So is there any way in which Nissan has changed its strategy, whether it be the marketing strategy or business strategy more broadly throughout the crisis?
Yeah, I think it's the reality is that we have had to really sort of adapt and change, no question, very, very quickly. And one of the things that, fair to say, that there's no rule book here. No one's got a rule book, and no one knew exactly what the right approach has needed to be. So I think first and foremost, one of the key things for us and one of the learnings has been to ensure that we all sort of move together, I suppose, in the same way very, very quickly within the company. So one of the things that we very much changed was around our strategic approach, not only to what we call our tier 1 and tier 2, so that's all our brand and model advertising, as well as our retail advertising as well. So it was really around changing that tone and messaging that was in market. That was a really key point for us. It was really looking at the media quite differently to where we'd had before, remembering that we have, everyone, of course, is multi-screening, people were at home, and we had a much greater sort of in-market or auto intent to sort of focus from a media perspective. So I think between our strategy, between our campaigns in market, our media, and we actually launched a car and a new brand logo and visual identity through this time. So all of those things, we had to be very agile, and we had to think quite differently in terms of the way that we went to market.
Okay, Geraldine, that's all we have time for, but thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.